Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to another special session of the Season of AI, a special initiative by Microsoft wherein learned leaders are, are, are sharing their success stories, sharing their ways of working on Azure AI. We today have Omkar Srivastava with us. Omkar is a is a seasoned pro, and let me put it like this. He's been working in the industry for ages now, uh, and I don't want to talk much more than this. I'll pass this baton to Omkar for him to introduce himself and then set up everything else. Over to you, Omkar.
Okay. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you, Rohit, for the nice introduction. And yeah, like I'm also excited to start with this session, which is on development in Azure AI Studio. And yeah, I think I have that introduction slide in my PPT. We can start. Yeah. I hope everyone is able to see the screen. Like if not, then you can add the comments. So I think Rohit and team can help. Okay, so as we all know, we are starting with this development in Azure Studio, and then these are the details. Like Rohit has already introduced me, and this is my LinkedIn handle as well. So starting with this, like um, uh, okay, uh, so Rohit, can slide movement? Can you guys manage? Is it okay? Okay. So I think that animation is not coming proper, but this is all about me. That I'm right now working as an engineering leader in Autodesk, and I was previously working with Microsoft, and I am Indore alumni, and I've been working in all sorts of domains. Like I started with the business domain, and then I switched to finance domain, then telecom domain, then healthcare. Then in Microsoft, I worked as a senior engineer for security and compliance domain. And right now in Autodesk, I'm working for the Make Design initiative across the globe and working as an engineering manager. So to start with, I'll probably start with the next slide. Can we go to next slide? So I would like to highlight first, like before Copilot came into picture or GPT word came into picture, I would like to highlight what AI was, like what it meant for us in terms of dictionary. So there were like multiple theories around it, and there were multiple descriptions, which is mainly around computer system, which is able to perform any sort of task with human intelligence, and then it also has decision making power, and then like how we learn, right? It is able to learn and capitalize on on its learning module and to make the decisions. So that we whatever we had was everything was in theoretical basis, and then this is something coming from the dictionary. But let us understand what exactly was AI. Like what is AI in terms of uh, real world, like what we are doing right now. So basically, as we discussed, right, in dictionary, it's quite true that whatever we have in computer systems, right now, if they are able to use their intelligence to resemble any human behavior, right? So that is what AI is. Basically, make predictions, detect the anomalies, analyze the images, differentiate, and figure out what are the differences. And then obviously we expect computer to talk to us. Like right now, we recently saw a demo, right, of ChatGPT 4.0, where you are seeing GPT actually talking to us, in a natural way. So that is what is expected from AI, and this is the real world capability. So I'm I'm just going to deep dive into this, but before that, there is a very interesting question which comes to all of our mind, that is AI is going to take our job. And I'm sure like many people will be having this thought in their mind when we are making progress in this field. And so I would say we were having industry which is 4.0, and now we are shifting to industry which is now 5.0. So we are moving, getting into fifth generation of the industry. So which is totally based in AI. So this is a very common query which might come up, but I I I think the right answer would be no, because we should always remember that AI is not always right. So at the end, humans are the best person to decide on something. Although we can provide that intelligence to the AI systems so that they can make decisions on behalf of us, but still, humans will be always required, because this is a real fact that AI is not always right. So now, if we try to understand that this AI stuff, how it is going to help, right? So if you can see in the slide which is in front of you, uh, basically without AI and with AI, we are doing the differentiation. And so normally, if I'm working on a task, I'm probably starting at the average level. Where we start was without AI is from the average level. Now with AI, what is happening? I'm getting some help added to my curriculum. So what happens? Instead of starting from zero level, I'm starting from something at level 4 or 5, which is a very good level to start with. So it is going to assist in all forms, so that we can go and achieve something which is beyond the expectations. So if I am starting at average level, I'm reaching to great level. I'm now, with that help of AI, I'm actually able to match the expectation, and as well as beyond the expectation part as well. So we are reaching to the outstanding results. So that is what AI is going to do, and that's what we are why we are heading towards industry 5.0, which is all about AI. So going ahead with this, let's first understand what is the purpose of machine learning, because AI is all about, which is related to machine learning mainly. And I will cover in the next slide how and ML is related to AI. So machine learning is a data science technique, basically, that allows us to use the computing resources to forecast, expect the behavior, yeah, sense the behavior, and then predict the outcomes and come up with some trend. So basically, the purpose is basically forecasting and predictions. But to do that, we need some data. We need to create certain models. We do the evaluation on the created model after training them, and then we deploy it for the use. So that's what we are doing as part of machine learning. And this is where our Azure Studio helps us, and which we will cover in the later point of time. But just trying to make you give a sense of this, like why we are understanding this slide. So this is giving us an idea like what it is all about basically. And we'll move to the next slide. And so basically, this is the slide which gives you a understanding how ML is actually related to artificial intelligence. So I think you might have heard all about these famous terms: deep learning, machine learning, AI. So I would say machine learning is a subset of AI. So machine learning is the foundation for any AI system. So you can build any AI system, but without ML it is not possible. And then deep learning. So I'll not go in the depth, but just giving you an idea about this. And you can consider these goes interchangeably. Sometimes you might consider, like some people also consider that ML is actually equal to AI, but actually ML is a subset of artificial intelligence. So, getting into the next slide for this, and let's understand, like, because whatever the use case I'm covering, right, in this session, it will be based on a bot, the chat conversation with the AI system. So, now how that processing happens, right? It is completely based on natural language processing in AI. And then when it comes to NLP, right, you might have heard this term while working with Python modules or Python applications. But this NLP is actually based on two parts. One module is actually giving the interpretation, and then second part is for the generate. So NLU is nothing but to understand and interpret what user is giving us, and then NLG is something where the system talks to us. So it basically generates a output. And then for this part piece of thing, cognitive services in Azure comes into picture, which is actually enabling us to have make the systems talk to us. And we can build over cognitive services using Azure Studio. So basically, that becomes one common point for us to build any AI model or any AI application API uh, uh, under, like, built over all the Azure resources which are being provided to us. That becomes a single point of destination for us to go and work on it and create something unusual which was never expected. And coming, like, you guys even will be surprised that okay, we could uh, we could build some model like this which can do lot many things which were completely manually, and then people were not expecting those things to be happening automatically. So so that is something which we are building. And getting on to the next slide. So this is like, I'm really sorry for the alignment, because I had animation added. It looks like the animations are not working. So basically, this I wanted to highlight that there are certain ethics we follow when we create AI system. So when you build any model, when you are working on any AI API on Azure Studio, basically we just follow uh, these six ethics, which are based on these ethics. We are basically creating that AI model and all. But the seventh one, which got recently added, that is responsible AI. I'm sure you must have recently saw that Microsoft Build 2024 session, where they specifically introduced to this term globally. People are getting introduced to this new term, and that is quite important also. And I think Microsoft is taking it very seriously, and this is going to help the human race only at the end in future. And I believe all the organizations should actually consider it for building their own AI systems. So that is something which is quite important. And then responsible AI is something which is managing all these ethics, which is around taking the accountability that whatever system we bring up, right, it should be legally correct, and it should ensure, like, we are having diversity across the globe, sir. So whatever responses it is giving, it should be in terms of all the diversity we are having on the globe. It should be transparent, and then it should not be rude. And especially the privacy and security is the most important thing, because the data is something which is private to the user, so it should not be misused. So basically, these all these ethics will ensure the AI system is not getting misused. And let's start with the problem statement. Um, just give me 1 second. Um, so this is a problem statement which we are planning to, which we are trying to come up. So as you know, I'm working in an enterprise, big enterprise, right? It's a top product company. So if I'm working on, like, I have a certain knowledge base, I have some set of data, and probably let's understand that we are creating a support system or supporting app for our customers, where people are getting um, help from the existing knowledge base. So instead of going through the wikis or whatever the data we have right now, people can simply ask the question to the bot, and then that application should reply. So on behalf of the user, it should go and scan all the documents and figure out the answer and share with the user. So that is something which is going to save a lot of time and tremendous amount of effort also for the customers. So as you can see, right, it sounds very easy, but there are a lot many components which are involved. If you see on the screen, you have app where basically our user is interacting. It is putting some messages, which basically uses Copilot in background, and the Copilot API helps us to talk to the chat function, which is located in Azure AI Studio, the project which we have created. And that guy is using embedded model, search index, and chat model to understand the prompt and use a vector DB to figure out the most appropriate answer and return it back to the user. So this is the problem statement which we are actually trying to solve, and it sounds very easy, but it's not that easy. But thanks to Azure AI Studio and then Microsoft for coming up with Copilot and all sorts of features, it is having in the form of various extensions and plugins, which is enabling us to do this tedious task in like on the fly. You will once you try it yourself, you will feel like it is like something which was next level. We are able to do it in like roughly, I would say, in a day or so. Like, because you guys will be doing for the first time, there might be some blockers. So I am saying it might take 1 a day, but honestly, if you follow the wiki, the documentation, or the slides which I'm sharing, I'm sure you should be able to do it within few hours, maybe 1 hour, 2 hour. But that's not that easy, how it sounds. So all credit goes to Azure AI and then Copilot. So starting with this, so how we are going to build our own Copilot, basically. So basically, we are talking about building our own customized Copilot using Copilot API and Azure Studio. So there are multiple ways. So we are focusing mainly on Azure AI Studio, where we are going to create Azure resource, and then we will utilize Visual Studio Code to create the project, and then clone it, and then work on it. And then other ways are Azure CLI, where we can use command line arguments, where you just go and give the commands, use the commands to do the same stuff what we are doing in AI Studio. And if you want to run something locally, then you have Azure AI SDK. So all these things are there, but let's focus on Azure AI Studio, which we are for which we are here for. And then what we are going to do, right, it's totally based on model as a service. So we might have heard about you might have heard about infrastructure as a service, software as a service, platform as a service, caching as a service. Now here we can go with model as a service, which is I think probably you guys can, with the term itself, you can understand, which is mainly about creating your own model, and then Azure is providing the service, so we can provision the model which we want to create, customize it, and provision there, and then use it. Either I can use it or my customers can use it. There are multiple ways, like totally based on LLMs. So now, why should we choose Azure AI? This is a very valid question. And then, as I say, right, data is something which is very critical and private to any user. If I'm using my mobile phone, whatever data I have, it is completely private to me. I don't want to expose it outside. So that is mainly important for I would say privacy wise, and that's if my data is getting breached, many things can happen. I might lose banking credentials, suppose, and those credentials can expose hackers to take money from my account. There are a lot of many things which can result in if the data privacy is breached. So with Microsoft and Azure AI, it's completely built on the trust. So whatever data is there, that they say very with full confidence, and they have proved it also, that the data is our data. So whatever the models are running, right, they are running locally. So my data stays in my system, it never goes out. And then it's not the data is not being used, like in many cases I have heard. There are so many platforms where we have heard that people are some people are using the customer data to train their AI models. And that is another thing which is brings Azure up, that they are not using our uh, our data to train their AI models. So basically, data is protected, and then I think that is the main reason that we should choose AI, Azure AI first. And I personally, for my things, I'm not. So yeah, this is one more thing which I would like to highlight. So whatever I'm saying is those are my personal opinions, so not uh, my company's opinion. Or so basically, if I'm working in Autodesk is nowhere related to this, whatever I'm saying. But these are my personal opinion, for my own learning, whatever I've understood. In my opinion, I prefer Azure AI first. And yeah, so when we build a Copilot, so let's understand this fact also, that there are multiple stages which we are going through. So first stage, the build stage, when we are basically trying to build a Copilot, then we provision it on Azure. So basically, provisioning means, so for example, you have your cloud system ready. Now you are having an application. So your application is in your local system. So you basically move your application, you copy your application from your local system to the cloud. So that is basically it's quite similar. It's something related to this only, and this is what provisioning means. So you move your application, you have your deploy your application on the cloud, so it can be used by the users. And once you finish the provisioning, you do the work on the creating models, adding data to it, train it, add more connections, like if it wants to connect with certain other applications, and then build a prompt flow where you define what type of questions models can expect. And once you are done all with all those stages, you basically go and evaluate it, how your model is behaving and how it is performing. If it is performing well, then obviously it meets the demand. And once you're satisfied with the results, you will go and deploy, and then make you either use yourself and your company will use it, or you will make it public and ask your customers to use it. So these are the stages which we are going to cover while working on and building the copilot. So let's start, like how the copilot works for you. So mainly, if I'm creating an uh, application, of if I want to create my custom model, first what I need to do, the very first step is to create a project. So if you have worked on C sharp or in any other language, right, you need to have a project first, where which is going to define your end-to-end uh, uh, initiative or end-to-end thing which you are trying to achieve, your end-to-end goal. So that project is actually associated with that epic or initiative, which is the first thing which we need to create. Once you create a project, we jump on to the next one, which is nothing but creating a resource, because now we have a namespace created, which is like a boundary under which uh, all my resources and all my models, everything will be residing. So that project is created, but to run the model, to build the model, you need compute services, right, where you're going to provision and run the model. So we need the resources. So you basically go and create the resource group and choose a location where you want to create the resources, and then you just basically review it and just click finish. So these are the uh, this is the very basic step which we need to do: create project, create resource group. And resource group is something with in Azure where all your resources as part of this project, which are getting created, will be falling under that resource group which you are going to create. And you click on create a project. So once you do that, it goes and create the project in the background, and then you have the project ready. So in the studio UI, you will clearly see there is a option which is playground, where you can create the compute. So now you have a project created, you have a resource group created, but now you need a machine where you can actually work. So you go and create the machine, which is in a term we call compute. So basically, you are going to create a compute for your own development, and then you choose certain options, which type of machine you want to use. Like there are multiple machines which Azure provides. So there are A series, B series, C series, D series, E series, and the E series is having different type of CPUs, and then it only varies from the usage. But you can check in the documentation of Azure what type of virtual machine with standard E or standard B, whatever you flavor you are choosing, you can go and verify whether it fits your requirement or not. And based on that, you can make a decision. So for example, if in this screenshot you see it is selected standard E 4ds v4 version 4, and then the number of cores which we have is 4 core and 32 GB RAM. So you just choose the configuration, right configuration, which is needed for your model to run, and which is needed by you to build the model. And as we are having these resources in cloud, and this cloud is managed under Azure by Microsoft, so obviously we have to pay as we go, right? And then you can clearly see it is $0.29 for 1 hour, which is, I would say, the most efficient and the cheapest option available in the market. So you do the configuration setting and then select the compute power. and then go and create it. Once you create it, you can go ahead with this option where you click on develop in VS Code for the web. Basically, you select this up and then choose the compute, which is you just have created in the last step, because that is the place where your model is getting set up, and then you build on it and then you run the model. So this compute is the one uh, place where you are pointing to for each and every action which you're going to perform next. So you map it to you this compute, and then you choose this option and click on setup. So once you click on setup, you can actually connect to this project in the Visual Studio Code, like how you see right now in front of the screen. So once you have Visual Studio Code open, and then you are connected to this project, which is Copilot SDK demo, as in the name you can see, you will find the the Azure AI Studio itself has created a whole base, like the baseline stuff, whatever is needed to build the Copilot model and then run it. Everything you get as a package by default. You don't have to write anything from your end. You have the code, you have the text data, you have the shared samples, and everything is available as part of that. And then under shared folder is something where you can share these things with other developers also. So overall, whatever you see, right, you have, as I said, if you recall my one of the slide where where I said with AI you start from good level, and without AI you start from average level. So basically, if you see, if I'm going to do it from scratch, right, I might have to spend a lot of time in creating and writing that baseline. But now with this Azure AI, I'm actually able to get all of those baseline stuff, which is only needed as a platform service kind of stuff, you can say. Like as an example, I'm giving platform service, something like that. We already have the pre cooked code is available for us, where we just need to plug and play our piece of thing to customize it, and then we are starting at a good level, so we can achieve the outstanding results instead of starting from the average level. So this is one thing which I would like to highlight, and then we'll go into the next slide. So when I start any AI project, right, on after connecting to Visual Studio, so there'll be a README file which has all these steps and the instructions very clearly. If you get confused, if you get stuck, you can always follow it. And now, to you might be thinking there might be a lot of steps involved here, but actually, honestly, you just need to run single command after this, which is AI init. So once you do that, whatever underlying things are required, right, to start your work, will be taken care of by the once you run this command itself. So this command in the background actually uses Azure CLI, and it calls the API, which is basically helping you doing the setup in local, so that you can start with the work. So whatever setup is required, it will be taken care to initialize it, and then once it is initialized, you can actually start with your work by selecting the subscription, by selecting the resource group which you have created. So all of those options, it will appear on your terminal screen, and once you select all of your things, it will give the name of whatever the SDK you are creating. Like I've given Copilot, like this in this screenshot, you can see it is Copilot SDK demo, and choose a location. Then it will ask you that what is the deployment, which type of deployment you want to use, which type of model in this deployment you want to use. So there'll be a lot of options. Like in this screenshot that you can see, it is selected as GPT 3.5 Turbo. And once you follow the instructions, you can choose like after selecting the models and all, the last step, it will ask you for evaluation which model you want to use. So for evaluation, again, we have selected in this screenshot, you can see it is selected GPT 3.5 Turbo, same model. And then once everything is done, you provide the AI search instance, the resource which is created, and then it goes and create your all your resources. And trust me, what are things we are doing? It seems very easy, but lot many things are happening in the background once you are selecting these options one by one. And under the resource group which we have created in the beginning, under that resource group, all these resources which you are creating are getting created under that, and then that everything gets mapped to the project which you are working for. Now once it is created, right, we go ahead, because as I said, right, we are trying to create a chatbot, and then chatbot is something which requires data, right, and then when we are managing or handling data, right, so it's in huge amount, right, it can be in terabytes, it can be in petabyte size. So whenever you have a huge set of data, right, indexes come into picture. So the next step would be for us, for having that bot in place, we go and create the search indexes. And this is the command, which is clearly visible, and you just go ahead and follow the instruction which is given in the wiki, and then the command which is on the screen. Once you run it, what it does in the because this is a sample demo project, right, it is already providing data for me. You can see there is a data on the below screenshot, and then it has lot many md files. Now all these files are having some sample data which is to be consumed for the bot. Based on that, it is going to give the responses to the user. But instead of the sample data, you can place your own data. So basically, we use a model, and we get the full code of the model pre-cooked. Over that, we are basically updating the data which we want to customize the model for our own use case. So basically, this is a very important critical task, which is going to help us create our own copilot, which fulfills my need, if I'm doing it. Okay, and then once you create the search index, right, it is going to process all the data files which you have provided one by one. You can see on the below screenshot, and then once it is consumed, the search index would be created. So after that, you just go ahead, it will create a sample app for you. You run AI chat interactive. So basically now we have the data ingested, and now we need to go ahead and start the chat bot itself. So to invoke the chat bot, you are using AI chat interactive command, which in turns asks you to enter the user, because you are calling the chat bot, but right now I'm a user to chatbot whom he doesn't know. We need to authenticate whether I'm the right user who is supposed to use this bot or not. So we have the chat bot ready, and then this interactive way, this guy is talking to us, and then it's asking the username, like it will authenticate. Once you give the username, once you give the password, it will authenticate. And after you finish everything authentication, right, once you are logged in completely, you can see in front of in the screenshot in front of you, the next step, the user actually asks the question, what tent is the most waterproof? Basically, it is asking some question which is based on the existing data which was ingested into uh, the model which is used by the bot. Now based on that data, where the assistant is actually able to reply for the query of the user, the assistant is replying the most waterproof tent among available options is the Alpine Explorer tent. And this is one of the way you can easily create any sort of bot for your users, or or your own customers. And this is one example. You can ask any number of questions based on whatever the data set you have provided, to verify whether it is behaving properly or not. So this is just to test it at the unit level. Now let's see how basically it is doing. So if in the same source code, in the same project which is opened in your Visual Studio, where you connected it with Azure AI. So if you see, uh, you will find the chat.py, which is basically what controls everything, like getting the user data, creating the tokens, understanding it, using the search index to query. And once the response is there, we go and it goes and calls the chat completion module. And then the chat completion module actually uses a ginger template to frame the output, and then it returns back to the user based on the response coming from the generated module, the chat previous module. So this that code is also residing in your local machine itself, and if you want, you can even improvise it as per your need. You can even customize it. Code level also, you can do the customization. Not like you have both controls now. You have control at data level, you have control at the code level as well. So Once the chat completion is done, you basically go ahead and do the evaluation. So now, if you see this evaluate part, right? This is again the sample data for evaluation, which you see on your screen. So there is a file which is being used for providing our. So you recall, right? We had selected one model for evaluation as well. So this file becomes the input for that model, and based on the questions and the truth factor, whichever you have provided here, it is going to evaluate the model which you are testing. So this is the perfect example of setting up evaluation model, and this is how it looks. So basically, you just go ahead and call Python src run.py. Basically, as I said, everything is the code is there in your local machine itself when you create the project. And then once you run this run.py with the argument -f evaluate, so it is going to call the evaluate model to use this data set, evaluation data set, and then basically evaluates each and everything um, on the evaluation model and provide you certain metrics. And then you see, okay, these are the questions from the evaluation data set, and these are the answers my model is returning, which I have created after training the model. This is the answer I'm getting, and these are the metrics, which additional metrics which helps you in understand whether it is accurate or not accurate. So now, once you have this evaluation results, right, you can even view this report on the UI. So at the bottom, you will actually find a sample web link. Basically, you will find a web link. Once you click on that web link, you will see the evaluate report coming up, spinning up like this over Azure AI, and you can find the very interactive way and then pretty organized report of your evaluation and your metric scores, and how long it took to complete, and then the current status. And even you can go ahead into more details, like question by question, how it has behaved, how your model has behaved. So you will get the detailed metric results as well. So and then the best part is whatever you were performing locally, right now it is public, because we are using when you run a command on local on your VS Code terminal, it talks to Azure CLI, and then it goes and talks to the cloud services which are running for facilitating all of these things which we are right now seeing on the screen, right? So that's the reason whatever the results you evaluated in machine, at least the result part are also available on the cloud. So in future you can go back and revisit it anytime. So this is another very nice feature which we have. And once you are satisfied with your evaluation results, you uh, directly go ahead and deploy it, because now your model is ready to use, right? And then your bot is ready, so you just plan to deploy it on the go. And you can see on the screen the deployment code is also part of your run.py, which is part of your project itself. And you just need to run python run.py again with the -f and deploy, and then deployment name which you provide. So it goes and talks to your project, and then basically in the compute service which you have brought up, right, the machine which you have brought up, the compute which is there in the cloud, it goes and deploys your bot, and then it starts uploading it. Once it is successfully deployed, it is ready to use. Actually, after that, it will confirm you that it has deployed successfully. It will provide you all data in the logs, in the form of logs. And once it is successfully deployed, it is ready to use. After that, you can ask the users or your customers, or you yourself can start using it on the go. And this is a sample screenshot. Like it's for Contoso company. It's a chatbot where uh, they have followed the same process which I have just explained you. And then you can see from their data trained model, they are able to get the answers which they wanted back from the bot. So now they don't have to look into lot many things. They can directly ask the bot, okay, this is my requirement for booking a tent for my client or whatever it is. It is the bot itself is guiding the customer or the user and then with the intended the required answer, it's mostly the accurate answer which it is providing to the user. And if it is not accurate, obviously they can further go back and reach out to the support team. But this is going to reduce a lot of effort for the user, for the customer, and for the company, which is helping their customers, for which who is owing this site basically. So this is a small use case which we covered, which is mainly about creating your own chatbot, creating your own copilot model. So they have this guy has been trained on the existing copilot with their set of data, with their set of changes, uh, so to customize it and answer, give the answers based on Contoso's organization data, the knowledge base which we have, not something on available on the public internet. And as we have already discussed, the data is something which is fully secured, and Azure AI takes care of that very beautifully, and then it manages a security part of also in addition to data privacy security part, which is saving all the customers from the threat, from any sort of hacking, and lot many other features which comes as part of that. So yeah, I think this has covered the whole stuff end to end, which is mainly around building your own copilot, coming up with an application, the bot application. And these are the some important commands which I would like to highlight at the end of the slide. And if you want to understand and learn more, right, and if you want to take it as your like if you're more passionate about, right, I would recommend you should start with this certification in Azure, which is AI 900. This is a very basic certification for any guy who is looking to start into this AI world and ML services world. So after understanding reading the documentation and completing this certification, I would say you will be the best person to start on any sort of AI development, which is based on AI Azure AI Studio. And as you see, this covers all the required resources which is needed for a person to work on AI, which is like ML, cognitive services, the bot services, and then the responsible AI, which is quite important. And once this is done, this is the location. This is a site URL ai.azure.com, where you can just hit and start exploring yourself if you want to explore, and follow the instructions which I have shared. And you can, if you have any doubts, you can also look at the documentation. It's beautifully curated, I would say. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you so much. And if you want, we can connect with me. This is my LinkedIn handle. Yeah. Over to you, Rohit.
Thank you, Omkar. We will add Omkar's LinkedIn handle in the YouTube description, and anyone who wants to connect with him would be able to do so. Thank you so much for your time, Omkar. Look forward to having you with us again.
Yeah. Thank you, Rohit. And thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.